Now, what I meant by my entire house will smell like it is basically, well, my entire house will smell like that particular scent. What that is confirmation that your ancestors heard you. It's you have a thought of a past loved one, right? And then you get in your car and you turn on your radio, and the song that pops on the radio, that's the exact, or that song reminds you, or say it was a song that you had a very special memory with one of your past loved ones, or that song, you associate that song with that person who's passed away. That is confirmation from spirit that they hear you. And spirit is all around us. Your family members are with you on a regular day basis. But a lot of the times people are like, okay, well, if they're near me, why can't I feel them? Why can't I hear them? Why can't I sense them? You can. You just have to hone in on it. And this 30-day spiritual challenge was what I mentioned in part 2 to this part. But I also have a video up on it. Basically, it's just a 30-day challenge of where you take at least 5 to 10 minutes every single day for at least 30 days. And you purposely set aside that time and talk to your ancestors like I'm talking to y'all now. Now, of course, with that, if you do get a verbal response, or if you get a response that you can actually hear, then great for you. 9 times out of 10, that's not how it's going to happen. But with that and with this challenge, I guarantee results. I promise you, I've had other people that have come to me and talked to me about it, and they got results. With that, to anyone who does see this, if you do not know, I'm also doing currently a 30-day tarot spread challenge. Check out the last live that I posted from my Facebook, and it explains that. And I also believe I also have a video up here on the channel about that. Now, with that all being stated, in the last 2 years is when I really started focusing on communing with the ancestors. And how that has completely changed everything that I thought I knew about the craft. With that being stated, the best advice that I can give you is, once you know, because for one, you're never going to know everything in the craft. There will never be enough time in this lifetime to learn everything you possibly can. But once you get to a point to where you know the basics. Now, what I mean by the basics is how energy works, how a circle works, how tools work, how the correspondences, aka the herbs, and all the other ingredients that you use, or symbolisms that you use in the craft, they're called correspondences because they're corresponded with the element, the planet, so on. What I did was basically I threw out every single thing that I was ever taught about practicing the craft. And once I did that, I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do how I feel, which is what I do. And what I've realized with that is some of the advice that I can give people. On my Facebook, I've picked the term sprout instead of saying newbie or baby witch. But for all you sprouts out there, stay off social media when it comes to magic and your magic comparing to others. Stay off social media and take what everybody says with a slight grain of salt. Now, the reason that I'm saying that is because with the social media problem, I myself still do it, and I still have to step back. But I see all these posts about all this magical stuff and all these spells and stuff like that, and then I look at mine and I'm like, well, wait, mine doesn't look like that. So it sets up doubt, and doubt in anything to do with the craft will kill it before it even begins. Now, with that though, I've learned, now with that being stated too, not every spell or ritual or thing that you do is going to work. There are just some that don't work, and then there are some that work within a 24-hour period. There are some that take 6 months to work. What I have realized when it comes to spells, though, or rituals, the longer it takes to actually manifest and come into your life. Not necessarily the bigger pay, but the more extreme it can be. Now, with that being stated, too, a lot of people, they tend to just say when you're visualizing, think of it coming to you. Think of your goal coming to you. Yes and no. Not only do you need to visualize, you receiving that or that coming into your life, but you also need to start visualizing techniques or ways or situations that you can be put in for what you're trying to manifest to come to you. Now, another way that I can explain that is with candle magic. Candle magic is some of the easiest, simplest, but most powerful magic you can do. I myself preferably do candle magic than I will any other magic. For what that also coincides, I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign. With that, each horoscope that you have, basically you have an element to it. Earth, air, fire, and water. I'm a fire sign. Well, I'm a solar fire sign, and my lunar sign is different, but that's for another video. But with the candle magic, and when you burn a candle, you're not just lighting the candle and burning it. No. Everything that candle does is an indication to you of how that spell or how that magic is going to work. Now, what I mean by that is, if you light a candle after you dressing it or anointing it is basically putting oils and or herbs or crystals on it as you're burning it. But when you light that candle, if that flame is strong, aka it is bright, it is straight up, it doesn't flicker, it doesn't dance around, it's just burning straight. That's a very good indication that basically there are no blockages from the spell to the universe, so your message is getting through very well. Depending on how the wax melts and how it forms on the outer surface of the candle, that is also an indication. If you have a candle flame that's like sparking and like flickering and dancing and like trying to burn but going down, basically means there's some type of blockage that is preventing this message from getting completely through crystal clear. Now, that's also what I mean by when you're doing magic, it's not about, you don't always need to think, okay, how can I get this item? Also try to visualize situations when you do a spell for yourself or for someone else, to say to attract love, or to attract a new job, or to attract a new friend. If you do that spell and then just sit at your house and, well, just sit there, nothing's really going to happen. But if you do spells like that and then you actually, any situation or any event or any opportunity that comes your way to where you could be put into a social situation or a situation to where you could meet somebody new, you need to take it. Basically what I'm saying is, yes, a witch or someone who does magic, true enough, you are taking control, but at the same time, you also need to meet the universe halfway. It's like when you do your magic circle. I spent almost an entire year before I even fully opened the circle, just prepping and making sure everything was perfect. Now, nothing has to be perfect whatsoever. That's not what I'm saying, but it's like gardening. The more time and effort you put into this specific thing, the better the results will be. Now, like I said, if you do have spells that do not work, do not take offense to it. Don't start beating yourself up. You didn't do anything wrong. Nothing, you had no control over it. There are some things that just are not meant to be at that time. I've done spells, say, when I was 15. They didn't actually manifest until I was about 22. Now, does that mean the spell never worked? No, the spell worked. It's just the universe itself, or whoever, however you want to word it, something out there knew that if you were to receive what you asked for at that point in time in your life, you wouldn't treasure it. You wouldn't, see what I mean? Now, with that also being stated, with me, and what I mean by I don't do magic like most people, all the pictures or anything that you see to do involving my magic, none of it was planned. Now, I do stuff that is actually planned out, like I'll try to grab everything before I do it. 9 times out of 10, though, I will literally be like sitting here doing something like this, and I'll get this weird feeling. It's kind of hard to explain, but the easiest way, it's almost like this tingling at the very tips of your fingers. That's magic. But I will literally get this feeling. I will get up, and it's like my body itself kind of just goes into autopilot. I'll go to my craft room, and I'll just start pulling stuff, putting stuff together, and then, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 20 minutes later, I'll step back and realize what I've created. I've done spells before. It's so cool. I've done spells and crystal grids and little candle spells of magic that I didn't know I needed until after I finished it. And right after I finished it, that particular area or that particular subject came up in my life, and I'm like, oh, well, my body was prepping for it. So, this will be part 2 to the updated intro. If you're curious to see the intro and how my spiritual beliefs have changed a little bit, in at least in 11 months, go to the very first video that I have posted, which is called, I believe, My Introduction, or My Introduction into the Craft. View that one, and then view this one and the other one that should be posted before this one. And basically, there may be a third part to this, but, and I hope I got my point across, but basically what I'm trying to say is you do not need or have to worship and or acknowledge the old ones, the gods and goddesses. You do not have to worship and or want to work with your ancestors. You don't even have to. You can be a Catholic, you can be a Jehovah's Witness, you can be a Buddhist, you can be any other religious thing and still do magic. Okay? Now, with that being stated, I did want to kind of clear something up too, because in some of my older videos, you'll see that terminology has changed. In some of my earlier videos, and in actually recently this year, I used to say instead of that I was a witch, because 9 times out of 10, if you tell somebody you're a witch, they're either going to say Satanist or they're going to be like Wiccan. And that's mainly just because Wiccan is more popularized and it's more known about. Or at least that name to it is. But I used to say, no, I'm just a pagan. Now, the problem with this, it's also the problem with witch and Wiccan, is all of those are umbrella terms. Now, what that means is basically, and visualize a tree. Wicca, the original Wicca, is a leaf or a branch, right? There we go, perfect. It's a branch. Witchcraft is the tree. Paganism is a branch. Now, what that means is you can be a pagan, but not be a Wiccan. You can be a pagan and not really be a witch, or you can be a pagan and not practice magic. But basically, pagan is just one word that describes multiple different types of paths and spiritual, all of that. So they're all umbrella terms. So now, and due to the simple fact I realized, wait, I don't really fit the pagan thing. So now, I tell people that I am just a spiritual witch. And what I mean by that is, at the end of the day, I don't care about power. I don't care about having and manifesting everything that I possibly can in my life. I don't care about any of that. I want to know why. I want to know truth. I want to know. Basically, I want to know knowledge. And with that being stated, when it comes to religions, world religions, different types of religions, I believe that there are truths in every religion, but that does not mean every religion is true. So, yeah, I just wanted to jump on here. I wasn't going to do anything like this. As you know, or if you don't know, I did not do my live video this morning just because yesterday and today, actually this past week, is taking a lot out of me. And that's just because, as you can tell, I'm not at my house and I'm agoraphobic. I know I pronounced that wrong. But I have a lot of anxiety and stuff, and me being outside of my house is, yeah. So, going to a family member's house and then supposed to go to another house tomorrow, it's taking a lot out of me. But come Monday morning, I will be back at it. Again, to anyone who doesn't know, I'm Fire Lotus the Witch. I have a Facebook page, Fire Lotus the Witch. My Instagram is fire_lotus_the_witch. And of course, my YouTube, Fire Lotus the Witch. And my Twitter is also Fire Lotus the Witch. And at some point in time over the weekend, I will have all of that posted on this video. But until then, I hope y'all all have a magical day. Morning, noon, or night. I don't know your life. But if you see this and this resonates with you, please like it and comment. Yeah, again, I'm not being paid for any of this. I'm not trying to get paid for any of this. I just want to spread my word and get my knowledge out there. But until then, I hope y'all all enjoy the holiday seasons. And always know that if you see this on any of my platforms, always know that I'm free to message me, let's have a debate. If you don't agree with anything I said, let me know in the comments why. I'm not trying to start an argument, but I like to know why the person or why people think the way that they think. So, yeah, until then, peace.